Memories began to flow to the surface. Memories I'd forgotten, that I'd been forced to forget. I watch, a sick feeling in my gut, as Avery Macmillan tells his daughter that he will always be with her. After the trial, his family is put under protection to prevent them from being massacred, literally or figuratively, by the rest of the world. I watch the Macmillan family file quietly into the back of a van. They are driven away on a rainy day, the day Avery Macmillan is executed. My memory of them is whipped after that. I know that they exist. I remember his family, and yet I don't. I don't remember 6-year-old Elena's deep green, unfeeling eyes. I don't remember her father telling her never to forgive or forget, never to forgive or forget me. Just as wished she got to know me, maybe even learn from me. The electricity in the office goes out. Oh crap, we are screwed. And yet, despite the odds, I'm in peace as the Macmillan's god tries to take me. You have reached the true ending. Congratulations on cleaning the elevator. Please consider filling out a short survey, also reachable by navigating to http in your web browser to let us know how your experience went. I will do that. I will also upload this video because, well, those videos actually, the music room. Okay, well, a sort of Q&A. Hello, Kevin speaking. First of all, congrats on unlocking the trending. I hope you enjoyed the elevator. Then again, I suppose you wouldn't be reading this if you didn't care. Anyway, I'm just going to discuss a few things about the story and characters. I originally came up with the idea for the visual novel as a school project. After presenting it, I ended up fleshing things out a bit more. The project had a word count limit, you see, and I wanted actual players to get the full experience. Let's read it, that might be interesting as well for everyone. Well, for someone who actually watched that on my channel. The elevator takes place in the future. If you google the Green River Killer that David mentions, you'll see that he was an actual person who killed so many people in the 1980s and 90s that he's considered to be America's single most prolific serial killer to date. Since David says that the Green River Killer was active centuries ago, this puts the date of the elevator somewhere in the mid of 2000s. I'd say somewhere between 2400 and 2600. As a bit of a side note, Pierre and Co from Restaurant Amore were born in the 430s. That's cool. Wait, so Restaurant Amore was made after, before the elevator, right? And we played it already. Yay! What a coincidence. This future is not so far out that our society is run by robots and everyone teleports everywhere, but at this point in time there is no more central government. Countries, states and cities have been fragmented and each district has its own local government. The police, healthcare and other social services are no longer national government funded, so the power of, say, the police force depends highly upon how wealthy that particular district is. Many services are now privately run enterprises instead of guaranteed for all citizens, without any welfare programs to speak of. People who don't have enough money to feed themselves or pay taxes end up in debt or prison or debt. Poorer districts often seem like chaotic anarchies, and in some places, private detectives and volunteer militias have more power than the police. With local government having to do so much, it's easy for illegal immigrants, criminals and the like to slip through the cracks. The bureaucracy hasn't changed much despite being on a local level. So many people choose to subvert the system entirely. This is the world that David lives in. Disillusioned by his time in the district police office, he decided to live with his friend Jonathan and start a business that they really believed in. I was trying to mislead people with the premise of the game a little. I wonder if anybody thought this would be some sort of dating sim where David and Elena hook up. Sorry about that. The elevator is a bit of a cautionary tale for what its cautionary cautioning whatever you about depends on how you want to interpret things and which character you identify with more, I suppose. This is probably one of the least interactive visual novels we'll ever make here at Cyanide, but I hope that it was still enjoyable. Yes, it was. About the characters, there are really only 4 of them, and one of them is only around in David's memories, but let me talk about them briefly. Let's start with David Carmichael, the main character. I originally intended to have him be more like a grumpy older man, but he ends up being more introverted and introspective than I expected. He's a man who can't move on from his past because he isn't sure if he did the right thing. Then he feels stupid for starting to sympathize with a serial killer, and the cycle of self-doubt and self-rejection starts all over again. He rejects Elena's small attempts at companionship because he doesn't think it's possible for them to be anything more than acquaintances. Elena is not very happy about this, of course. I hope not too many people are able to relate to David like him. I had a very dark period in my life, where I questioned everything I did and didn't feel like I was worth anything. I think I had it before. It didn't last nearly as long as for me as it did for David. Yeah, for me too. But it's a very awful world to live in, no matter how long you were there. Still, like David looks, even when he's feeling down and unsure, he keeps going. He cares more about helping people than about boosting his own ego. I mean, if even every Macmillan was able to take a shine to him, David must be a pretty swell guy. For the record, David is 43 years old. Jonathan North is the upbeat best friend partner in Justice. He's been best friends with David for years, and they're about the same age. Though I'd say that Jonathan is definitely a bit younger. He's seen some pretty nasty things in his life, but he's able to cope with his line of work better than David does. Probably because John doesn't have a big dark memory to cling to. I think of him as the Chris Rock to David's Jackie Chan. If John wasn't around, David might have drowned his sorrows to the point of oblivion by now. John tries his best to help his friend stay on the right path and finds happiness, so it's unfortunate that David doesn't listen to him. Come to think of it, I probably gave him the last name North because he's like a compass for David. My naming sense is not always the best. Anyway, John had his memories of the so-sure killer case mostly erased, so it's not really his fault at the end. If he'd known that Elena was in the building all along, he definitely would have put his life on the line to try and protect his friend. Now we get to the Macmillans. Let's talk about Avery for a bit first. He profoundly affected David's life, even though he's dead for the entirety of the story. I think his character has the most impact, a crazy genius obsessed with a strange religion. Avery definitely meant for all this to happen. He more or less instructed his impressionably young daughter to go after David in the future, and he planted the seeds of doubt in David's mind that would ultimately be his downfall. Elena picks up right where Avery left off. It's not really obvious, but she's the one who killed the Jensen boy at the seashore, possibly with the help of her brothers. Our pretty little psycho killer. I tried to leave lots of hints of still increasing obviousness as the story wore on. Well, actually I didn't see that coming. I mean, I had a feeling that she's his daughter. I think I told that in the video actually, but I didn't thought that she might be the killer. Well, maybe if I actually was thinking who might be the killer, I would thought that. But I didn't. But okay, let's continue. As the story wore on, so I tried to leave lots of hints of still increasing obviousness as the story wore on. Her identity is especially obvious in the true ending. What's that the whole point? She has green eyes like her father, and even her fake last name is a clue. Cormack. Cormack was the bishop son of Bertach, a prince who started the Macmillan clan, which is where the surname comes from. Okay, unlike her father, however, Elena has a bit of conscience. She just hides it well. In the true ending, she hesitates when it comes to David, and it's obvious she has a bit of a crush on him. I suspect that he wasn't the horrible villain that she remembered him being when she was a child, and the gap threw her off. Does she kill him in the true ending? Who knows? It's up to your imagination and interpretation. Once again, thank you so much for playing the game. Auro and I really appreciate your patronage. Please consider telling your opinions. I will, if you have time. I don't have... Nah, whatever, I don't need to go to sleep yet. It's 10 minutes past 1 AM, so, you know. I think I will manage to get up at 7 AM. We pore over every submitted survey and love constructive criticism. Okay. Alright, so... Yep. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the game. I really did. I mean, I like the stories like that time. You know, it's not like visual novel need to be about dating, about couples, and about boy man falling in love with girl, or in a different or opposite, you know, otome novels. I like that type very much. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed The Elevator by Cyanide. And see you in the next series. Bye.